All right, hello and welcome to Cohesive Garage. I've been thinking about making this video for years now, um, 6 years now. But and that's back when I really was making videos quite regularly, and I realized a lot of my demographic of people who watch my video are pro manly things, right? Like, I mean, guns are cool, right? Guns are really cool. I like guns. I don't like bullets. I don't like things that are fired from guns that end people's lives, ruin their lives, and damage relationships, emotions, lives. It ends lives. But like, if you're talking about what is it, like the engineering and stuff, like guns are so cool. Like how they work, and then I'm gonna get you, no, you're gonna get me. Like, it's really you have so much power, right? It feeds the ego. It makes you feel strong. It's ego masturbation. And I think that's why so many people in the YouTube comments perpetuate how necessary they are, and how much we need them and whatnot. And I'm not going to talk about specifics as far as how many people die a year in this country from a bullet, but it's so many. It's so many. And I saw the stats for how many children have died in schools from bullets, and it's so many. So I can't understand how we haven't done anything, that we're not pushing forward for change. And I am massively for it. I think if you have a thing about hunting, even though I don't think that's necessary, but if that's your thing, get a special license, get a special, get permits, just make it difficult. Have to have insurance, for it. If you really want to have a gun, you have to pay insurance. You have to pay for that gun. You have to go through a lot to get it. I mean, make it twice as hard as getting a car. But let people who really want that in their lives to have it. Just don't make it don't make it an everyday life sort of thing, because everyday life with guns just leads to death. I've been watching these videos on this school shooting, and it's a school shooter, and the guy's 18. He went out and bought legally a couple of AR-15s, I think, or something like that, plenty of magazines and some body armor, and killed 18 kids or people after he shot his grandma in the face. So I mean, that guy, he's not in a good place. So let's talk about that. How many of us are in a good place right now? It's not a high percentage. It never is a high percentage. I mean, everybody, I have my good days, I have my bad days. And if I had my bad days and I had a gun on me, around me, my days would get even worse, and someone else's day might end. Their days might end. You have to realize that about what it is to own a gun, or have a gun, or just have guns around. Because they're tied to your ego. You want to do something, and then you have that opportunity. You have that horrible weapon in your hand. You tend to use it. I've been getting advertisements on YouTube for the longest time about, hey, veterans, put a gun lock on your gun. There's one thing in between you and committing suicide, killing yourself, because you have a gun, and you're aware of guns, and you know what they do. Um, that's another victim of gun violence is, you know, definitely domestic violence, killing your partner, killing yourself over your partner. Lord knows I've felt that pain. Um, so I come to these conclusions, I mean, just based on my common sense ability. Uh, I don't think a lot of us have a ton of common sense, and that's not a rib. That's that comes from driving a car, and you see how people drive, and some people they just don't understand things um, that are obvious. Anyway, but my stance comes from personal experience. Um, I have a good friend who, at a young age, got a place downtown Seattle with his girlfriend. Um, me and another buddy got him a job at our shop. Um, he was a friend of ours, so he was looking for some work, and I was working with him every day. Uh, and then, hey, buddy, I got some terrible news for you. Mahmoud got shot, um, and he can't walk anymore. And I cried my fucking ass off that day, and I'm not gonna now. I almost did, but my I might cry. My buddy, who is a mechanic, can't move his hands. He can't squeeze things. He can't move his legs. He can move his head. He can talk. He's my buddy. He's still the same guy. He's a champion of life. He's beautiful. And two cars were driving down after being in a club, and they had beef. Whatever their egos were driving, and they were shooting at each other from car to car. And my buddy was blocks away. I mean, 8 blocks away. I don't know. Walking down the street with his girlfriend, and took a bullet in the back of his spine and severed a bunch of his very important nerves that operate his body. So he's fucked. Um, so a bullet did that to him, fired from a gun that came from who knows where. Did that guy buy it? Somebody bought it. Somebody bought that gun. It eventually got to some asshole's hand that thinks it's a good idea to shoot out of a car, which Cain Velasquez just did that to somebody that maybe deserves to be shot at. I mean, but are you going to really say that about somebody? That they deserve to be shot at? Who are we? Who are we? These egos, I'm telling you, they're dangerous. I don't care who you are. You have an ego. And you don't have as much control over it as you think you do. Another one. I knew this guy. I used to instruct for a racing school, and I met him during that. He had a Miata, and he latched on to me pretty quick because I could teach him stuff about what he's, because I'm also a mechanic, so not only just a driving instructor. Hey, here's an Apex. This is how you drive, but this is how your car operates when you drive it like this, and this is what you can do to your car to make it a better driving experience. He's an engineer. He makes good money. I went to his wedding. We were friends. I had to unfriend him a couple times because he just didn't quite behave how I would expect a friend to behave. And I literally, I'm a very patient man, but he, a couple times, made me reconsider the friendship. That being said, I didn't have anything against him, really. And then I heard that he shot his gun through his passenger window into another car 5 times and hit the guy in the head 4 times, killing him. This was on the news. Our semi-mutual friend alerted me to this. And so this friend of mine, or ex-friend or whatever you want to call it, drove away from the scene, and only blocks from his house, and covered it up, and eventually got tipped off by somebody who knew him. I mean, apparently, because it was an anonymous call, but and then they found all this, footage of him, at the gun range, doing timed, like a course. How fast can I shoot the things? And they found a bunch of stuff on his computer, like how to shoot through windows and all this other stuff. But he was a hobbyist, a well-educated engineer who was married, had a good job, house, all this stuff, and his hobby. But I'll tell you what, I can just imagine that gun under his seat, and every time somebody cuts him off, he's like, you know what I can do to you? One of these days, one of these motherfuckers are going to find out. One of these people are going to find out. He probably goes to bed thinking about that, fantasizing about it, because of ego. The power of a gun and the power of an ego is the most dangerous thing I can think of. Instantaneous danger, death, blink of an eye, pull of a trigger. I saw him testify he was representing himself in court, and I saw him lie through his teeth. Just every other word out of this guy's mouth was his ego was pushing. He believed it. His belief system is not okay. So he's 20 years in jail. I don't know, but another interesting thing about that is a customer of mine sat here and we talked. I knew the murderer and he knew the victim. So there was some more insight. I mean, the victim was, according to this guy and every piece of news I've seen about it, he was a sweetheart, good guy, didn't, never meant to harm anybody, just a sweetheart guy. He's dead. He's very dead now. He got shot in his face by my old friend. I would have never guessed I was going to say this, and you hear people say that when the neighbors come and they, but after the fact, you know what? I'm not surprised. You put a gun in people's hands, and it's not if, it's when. Somebody's going to end up with that gun or something, like, sure. I'm going to protect my guns. I'm going to have security in school. Well, then you have a gun in the school. Why not just arm all the children so that they can defend themselves? Why don't we give our grandmothers and our wives guns? Why don't we all have guns? That way we can all just have shootouts. And people like my friend who got a bullet in his back, they can be every single day. This can be our lives. This almost is our lives because we don't have responsibility to do something effective about the gun population in our country. On top of just having so many guns, it's retarded. We have gun culture. Go to the movies. I'm so cool, I have a gun and I shot you before you shot me. Video games. I'm going to mow through a whole airport of people. Yeah, social media. I'm a guy, I like cars, off-roading and stuff, and so I'm swiping, and there's people showing off their guns, their weapons. Cool? I don't think so. They hide behind a bunch of pride for their country and themselves. There's that ego again. But the gun culture uh, is what I'm most worried about, and that people who have opinions like I do need to speak out, and we don't, because it's the same backlash. If I make a comment on YouTube, I get a bunch of people who are like, the Second Amendment is our God given right, and you can come try to take my gun if you dare. And a bunch of numbers that are okay. You're trying, you're trying. Good for you. Sometimes I even think they're bots from Russia or something trying to just stir us all up. But I think gun control is the number one issue in America. Um, some more perspective on my view is that I have been to Japan a lot, and they have absolutely no tolerance for guns, and I feel literally so much safer when I go out, even though there's so many people. I'm in subways, I'm in shopping centers, and there's people all over the place. And yeah, sure, I can get stabbed. I can get stabbed, but I've got a way better chance of surviving or getting help in those situations than if just a gun was popping off and everybody ran and I had a bullet in my head or in my heart. Um, just frightening. Um, but the difference between how I feel walking around the streets of America or driving in America, that guy could have a gun. I better be careful. Shit, I'm scared of irrational people with guns. When I go into Japan, I'm scared of drunk people with fists, I feel way more. But I'm a bigger guy, so that helps. But just the feeling of not having to worry about a random bullet just flying out of nowhere and hitting me. I hear gunshots at night. Um, I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, I hear about what it's like in Detroit and places like that where people just shoot guns at other people for fun, kind of stuff, and it boggles my mind that we're not active about voicing our opinions. So I'm here to just do that. I at least want to make this statement in case anybody takes the time to watch this. Um, Leave me a comment on your feelings, not your opinions. Uh, how does it make you feel to know that um, any old asshole can go to the store when they turn 18 and point their guns at your children's faces and blow their brains out while at school, and think about their friends who survived watching, 10 years old, watching your friends get their brains blown out in front of you. Girls, boys, teachers, security. Do you feel secure when there's security? I feel secure when there's common sense laws like in Australia and Japan against citizens just having guns. I was in Safeway the other day. This was last year or something. And I was walking through the aisle with the soda, and there was two more cheap sodas, 2 liters of soda on the shelf, and I was proud of myself. Okay, I was gonna get one, but I'm not. I walked by it. I got the rest of my groceries, trying to eat healthy because I'm just too fat. Another American problem, I know. So I see a guy in the line. So I pull up with my cart, and then there's a 6-foot rule, and there's a guy standing in front of me. He's got the 2 liters in his hands, like this. 100-pound guy, little guy, white t-shirt, some khakis or something, and then a piece on his hip. He's got a gun, and I'm immediately like, what the fuck is this? This guy has a gun. This guy who's got his hands full that I could choke slam 6 feet under the ground is strapped in a safe way. It was right in front of me. Um, and my friend came over, and I was like, "This guy has a gun. Look at this." The guy turns around, and I'm like, "What's that for?" He's like, "Oh, self-protection, everything." And I was like, I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. There's this scrawny motherfucker that I don't know who's holding a gun. If I have a gun too, and I have some kind of emotions about this other guy with a gun, we're gonna have a gunfight, Or he starts shooting, I'm gonna start shooting at him to protect everybody else. There's just guns. Somebody else has a gun. We're all just gonna be shooting at each other. The Wild West, is that what where is that where we live? Is that what we're doing? I just think that it's ridiculous. I mean, of course, there's good gun owners. There's responsible people. I'm just saying that there are a huge percentage of the population that are not stable, that are not responsible, and that could be you. You say, "Oh, that's impossible," but let's just imagine that you have a terrible breakup, you lose your job, you know, somebody somebody pisses you off, and you get the red mist, and you can't control yourself, and there's that gun that you love so much. Just hey, let's go do this. Let's go do something. That guy that killed all those people in Vegas, he brought up an arsenal to his room. He shot out the window, and there was a concert going on across the street or something, and he just unloaded. How many people died? A lot of people died. I don't know how many people died. One is too many. Um, that's how he wanted to go out. Anyone can do that. You can do that. I can do that. I can kill so many people if I wanted to. That disgusts me. That disgusts me that I can go get weapons, and I can pick a target. Where do I want to go? Take out my anger and end my life. I'm taking you with me. That's a it's a belief system, and when your belief is tied to your egos, you're right all the time. And when you have a have a weapon, and you can do it, all it takes is just the decision at that point, and that doesn't make me feel safe or happy. Um, and this is not just because of another school shooting. This is a lifetime of having to live um, with the threat of gun violence at all times. In high school, they had a gun in their locker or something. They got expelled or suspended or whatever. I mean, so it's not new. It's just we got lucky. But now social media, oh, look at the guy who did this, look at the guy who did that. Oh, wait until I do this. Yeah, it's going to perpetuate unless we do something about it. But it's disgusting. I'm disgusted by every single pro gun um, argument that I hear. Oh, there's too many guns. There's nothing we can. If we start now, if we start yesterday, if we start 10 years ago, there would be way less guns on the streets right now. If we start today, in 10 years, there's going to be way. If we start today, the next generation won't even know what it's like to live in this horrible world where guns are echoing in our streets, and our schools, and our safeways, and our churches, and just in America, in America, in America. God bless America, right? We got all these rights and liberties, but we're just human, and humans have their flaws, and they should be forgiven. But we can't just rely on hopes and prayers to save ourselves. We have to actually do something. We have to speak up. We have to assess the situation in a logical way, not an emotional way, not in a not in an insecure way. I mean, I'm just, I've got these experiences with uh, guns ruining people's lives, and there's more stories than the two that I told you. There's plenty of stories. All you have to do is ask your neighbor, talk to somebody. Hey, what happened in their life, with a gun, and you'll hear plenty of stories. And they're not all the good guys win. That is the minority. Vast, vast, vast minority. The fact is that a gun will hurt somebody. That's what it's for. So think on that, and I'll make better videos. I promise. Someday I'll get off my but something cool will come through here, and you'll see me working on some cars or showing off some new tools. Um, but yeah, that's it for me for now, and thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a good time. Cheers.